The mentor's message. In the quiet town of Greenwood, John was known for his laid-back attitude and lackluster academic performance. His friends affectionately called him the chill guy, but beneath his nonchalant exterior was a sense of aimlessness that had started to bother him. One weekend, while helping his parents clean the attic, John stumbled upon an old journal. Its pages were yellowed with time, and the ink had faded in places, but the words inside were a treasure trove of wisdom from his grandfather, Henry. John had never met his grandfather, who had passed away before he was born, but he knew of him as a hardworking and accomplished businessman. As John flipped through the journal, he became captivated by the stories and insights his grandfather had penned. Henry had come from humble beginnings, starting with a small business that eventually grew into a successful enterprise. His entries were filled with anecdotes of challenges, setbacks, and the determination to overcome them. With each page, John's perception of success started to shift. He began to see that it wasn't about luck or innate talent, it was about hard work, perseverance, and the willingness to learn from mistakes. The words of a man he had never met felt like a conversation across time, and John felt a connection to his grandfather's journey. Inspired by Henry's life story, John began reading biographies of other accomplished individuals. He devoured books about scientists, artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs who had overcome obstacles to achieve greatness. As he immersed himself in these stories, he realized that behind every success was a common thread of grit and determination. One day, John found himself at the local library, absorbed in a biography of an acclaimed writer. He couldn't help but wonder what advice his grandfather would give him if he were here. As if in response, a gentle voice interrupted his thoughts. "Excuse me, young man, I couldn't help but notice your interest in that book," said an elderly gentleman with a warm smile. John looked up, surprised. "Oh, yes, I've been reading a lot about successful people lately." The man chuckled. "Success isn't always about fame or fortune. It's about achieving your goals, no matter how big or small, and making a positive impact along the way." Intrigued, John struck up a conversation with the man, who introduced himself as Mr. Anderson. As they talked, John learned that Mr. Anderson had lived a life filled with experiences and challenges. He had started with nothing but had managed to build a meaningful life through education, hard work, and the determination to never give up. Mr. Anderson's words resonated deeply with John, and he couldn't help but share the story of his grandfather's journal. Mr. Anderson listened intently and nodded. "Your grandfather sounds like a remarkable man," he said. "His words have found their way to you for a reason. The lessons he learned can guide you as well." From that day on, John sought Mr. Anderson's advice regularly. The elderly man became his mentor, sharing stories of his own life and the valuable lessons he had learned. Their conversations were a mix of wisdom, laughter, and inspiration. With Mr. Anderson's guidance, John transformed his approach to life and studies. He dedicated himself to his studies with newfound determination, realizing that success was a journey that required effort and resilience. He even started a small business on the side, following in his grandfather's footsteps. As the years went by, John's grades improved, and he earned a reputation as a hardworking and passionate individual. He graduated with honors and pursued a fulfilling career that allowed him to make a positive impact on his community. Looking back, John realized that the journal he had discovered was not just a relic from the past, but a lifeline connecting him to a legacy of hard work and determination. Through his mentor, Mr. Anderson, and the lessons from his grandfather, John had learned that success was a journey worth taking, one step at a time.